Welcome to Chipping Around the Grand Strand, your weekly dose of golf, fun, and local flavor. Here are your hosts, meteorologist and longtime golf enthusiast Scotty Powell, and digital streaming producer and former collegiate golfer Jordan White.
Well, welcome to Chipping Around the Grand Strand, WBTW Plus edition. As Mr. Announcer Guy said, I am Scotty Powell. I'm joined by my co-host, Jordan White. Jordan, super excited about doing this with you. I'm excited about Chipping Around the Grand Strand. Now a digital show, and we're going to do a lot of fun stuff with this.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Thank you for having me. It's very bold of you to ask me for my on-camera debut to join Chipping Around the Grand Strand, because I know how much it is loved by our audience, but I'm really excited and really thankful that you have me here. So.
Yeah, well, I'm super excited to have you. And we're going to talk about Jordan's venture into golf, because it is way better than mine. But we'll start off with mine. As you guys know, I am meteorologist Scotty Powell here at WBTW, and approaching the third year here being at the station. And so when folks come in, they're given the opportunity to talk about franchises, and basically what that means is, hey, is there something interesting that you like to do that maybe our audience would find? And golf was for me, because while living here in Myrtle Beach, it is the golf capital of the world, and I was like, well, let's do some playing lessons, and it turned into Chipping Around the Grand Strand. So a little bit about my golf history. I picked it up at a way later age than a lot of folks did, and I'd say that's why I'm not as good as I could be. I was about 12 years old, and you get to that point, when you're that old, it's like, I've got everything I want for Christmas, and my parents decided to send me some golf clubs for Christmas, or give them to me for Christmas, and I was like, I don't know if I want to play golf, but went out first couple of times, and I started to really enjoy it, and then I started getting lessons, and then one thing led to another, and now I am addicted, I think, to golf. I love going out there playing, and one unique thing about me is, if you've watched on TV, I am a lefty, so Jordan, I had to, besides the lessons, kind of teach my own self how to golf, so that was a little bit difficult.
Sure.
My uncle, who I played with a lot, and then my dad, they were both right-handed, but I had to kind of do everything opposite. So, but that's me. I normally not the best golfer. I shoot in the lower 80s, upper 70s on occasion.
Hey, that's better than most. That is truly better than your average golfer. So Scotty's being humble. Scotty is being humble.
Until last week, when I played at Polly's Plantation, and that course kicked my butt.
And again, that course will serve anyone a big old slice of humble pie. That is for sure.
Yeah, it was. It's a beautiful course. If
It
you've never played there before, I definitely recommend going there to play. But it is a very difficult course. It's very narrow. The greens are super fast, and it is one that you got to bring your A game to, and I didn't have the A game last week, so
pack the B game. It was okay.
But it was fun nonetheless to get out there and play. I think the highlight of the day was actually seeing like this 8-foot gator just kind of like trolls across the course into one pond to the other. So,
just hanging out.
Yeah, just hanging out there. So, but that's a little bit about me and golf. Like I said, I'm not the best, but I love going out there and playing. And it, definitely for me, I am one of those people who I put the phone in the bag, and I just go out there and enjoy time and with friends. And I always say, man, in the same round, I could say, man, this is the most horrible game ever, and then I can say, I love this game. The golf is.
That's a whole thing. That changes every few minutes.
It is. It is an emotional roller coaster, because you can start off really well, and then you hit this slump like 4 or 5 holes, and you're like, what am I doing out here?
Why am I here? Why did I pay money to come do this?
Exactly. And then you're like, oh, that was a good shot. That's a good shot. So it is. It's a fun game. Like I said, it is a difficult game. A lot of people, they just think, oh, you just hit a white golf ball.
Simple enough.
Yeah, it's simple, but there's lots more to it. And hopefully we'll be able to expand on that for this new Chipping Around the Grand Strand here on WBTW Plus, because we plan on doing digging a little bit deeper into golf. So that's a little bit about my history. We're going to go to a little bit of a break, and when we come back, we're going to have Jordan talk about her history, which is a little bit more accolades than me. So we'll get talk to Jordan here in just a second. All right, well, welcome back to Chipping Around the Grand Strand. I'm Scotty Powell, one of the hosts here, and I want to introduce my co-host, Jordan White. And Jordan, a little bit about you. We'll get into the golf here in a second, but what we are streaming on right now, this has kind of been the baby you've been working on for a while. So tell us a little bit about your history and our app, and then we'll definitely go into your golf history because it's pretty freaking cool.
Thank you. Like Scotty said, my name is Jordan White. I am our resident digital streaming producer here at WBTW News 13. This is a newer role that I have acquired. I started here about 10 months ago. Going on 11, it'll actually be a year towards the end of August. So been here for a bit. I started as a digital producer, so I was doing a lot of our online writing, a lot of the stories and articles that you read online. You might have caught my byline on there. And then I was helping a lot with our social media accounts, doing different things on there, kind of getting us streamlined onto different platforms as well, big on Facebook and X. I always want to call it Twitter, on X.
Me too.
I know. And then also kind of getting us going on Instagram and TikTok as well. So kind of been doing a lot in the digital world. And whenever we introduced the WBTW Plus app, the powers that be here at the station entrusted me to be a part of getting it going and kind of having an app for us in general, and so that you could watch News 13 streaming as well, and not just on cable network and things like that. So now that we're here shows that we kind of did something right. We're here and we're on the app, so super excited, and not only excited to see all of this come to fruition behind the camera, but really excited that Scotty trusted me to be a co-host here on camera too. So bear with me for my on-camera debut, but I'm really excited and grateful to be here.
Well, I'm definitely excited to have you here. And you and I talked about this at the Myrtle Beach Classic. And we'll kind of talk about what our goals are for this show coming up here in a little bit. But most definitely the most experienced golfer we have here at News 13. So kind of tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so thankfully I grew up very sports oriented, but I went to elementary school, and for whatever reason, our PE teacher entrusted a bunch of 5-year-olds with the game of golf, which I'm super grateful for, and it's kind of an unusual thing, I feel like, in elementary school PE. But we were given plastic clubs and tennis balls and Velcro targets, and we're told to have a good time. And I did. I certainly did enjoy it. And I went home and told my mom, I was like, Mom, I got to play golf today. And she was like, are you sure? Like, I took you to school today. You played golf? And I was like, yeah. So she looked into golf. Nobody really in my family growing up had golf experience. I believe I have a great grandfather who was big in golf, but unfortunately nobody kind of picked it up after that. So my mom looked into it, set me up with the first tee, and I was just kind of off and running from there. I've been playing golf ever since. Played a lot of junior golf. I'm from the Grand Strand. I don't know if I've said that. So I'm a Grand Strand girl. Grew up in the Myrtle Beach Murals in the area. So I have had a lot of opportunities golf-wise, obviously being in the golf capital of the world, not only with courses, but with people and resources in the game are just unmatched. It's incredible. So I grew up playing junior golf, a lot of South Carolina Junior Golf Association tournaments, Carolinas golf, doing all the things, playing all the courses, meeting some amazing people. Oh, I knew I would regret putting up these pictures. There's me. That was a SCJGA tournament down in Seabrook, I believe. But got to play a lot of golf, and then actually grew up playing for St. James once I was old enough. So I was a St. James Shark. Played for our women's golf team there, and I was lucky enough. Obviously for high school we don't do recruiting, so thankfully down in the Murals in the area we had some girls my age that we were all really into the game of golf, and I was so lucky to be a part of a team that we were rather successful. We were able to win our state championship my sophomore, junior, and senior year. And just the girls on that team, not only at golf, I mean, they're incredibly talented girls who went on to play D1 golf and do just the most incredible things, but also just incredible people in general. Golf has brought me some of my best memories growing up and some lifelong friends. So I was really fortunate enough to play for St. James and represent them. And because of how incredible my team was and how hard those girls worked, I was able to go on and then play in college. I played for Coker University, which is also in South Carolina. It's in Hartsville. For those of you that don't know, that's about 30 minutes from Florence and about 20 from the Darlington racetrack, just to orient Scotty there. I know he's a big NASCAR fan. So I was able to play for Coker for 4 years, which was another incredible experience. I was on a team with not only girls from South Carolina, from the Southeast, but from girls all around the world, and made lifelong friendships, incredible memories just getting to travel there and play collegiate golf, which is, a whole step above, just getting to grow up and play around where you're from. So super grateful to do that. Loved being at Coker. I did play through COVID, which was certainly a unique experience, but, still got to play my last couple years being in college. And so just really loved doing all that, loved getting to get out there and play. And especially in college, I got to hone in on golf a lot growing up. Through high school, I played soccer and basketball as well. So when I got to Coker, it was all golf all the time. So that was really cool. And then right after I graduated, I actually went into the golf industry. I was an assistant pro at a golf course down in Pawleys Island for a couple years. And now I'm here using my communications degree and then bringing golf back around again. I'm convinced that wherever I go, I can bring golf into the conversation somehow. So,
well, I want to ask you about playing for Coker.
Yeah.
As a high school student, looking for colleges, obviously recruiting wise and stuff like that. Like, what was that process like? How did you decide, Coker is where I want to play at?
Yeah, it was crazy. And I graduated high school in 2018, graduated college in 2022. So I was kind of right before recruiting got super, super crazy with all like the NIL deals and all of that. I was just before that. But I really just wanted to look, my main focus was academics. I wanted to go and play golf, and I was fortunate enough to be able to do so. But I was also focused on, I wanted to major in communication, broadcast journalism. So I was looking at schools for that, and that was my main focus. And then I was lucky enough to have some schools reach out to me interested in golf. So I looked at Coker. Coker was the main one that I was interested in. I got to take a visit. I already knew some girls that were on the team that I knew from growing up playing junior golf. So that definitely helped, having some familiar faces to get there. But I was looking at some other schools, Winthrop, UNC Wilmington, Presbyterian. So I had some other schools that I was looking at. But when I went to Coker's campus, I think that's the biggest thing in, I guess, recruiting and choosing where you're going to spend the next 4 years of your life, your first 4 years away from home for most people. And I loved Coker's campus. I loved Hartsville. It's a super sweet town. Very small, very different from Myrtle Beach, that's for sure. But it was far enough away to where I felt like I was being a big kid, but it was close enough that if I wanted to come home and see my mom and my sister, I could, just drive a couple hours and be back home. So a lot of different factors going into it, but ultimately the academic aspect of it that Coker had to offer, and then the golf team, the coach, the proximity to the course. I mean, it's like a 30-second drive to Hartsville Country Club from campus. So a lot of pros in Coker's box. So I was lucky enough that they took me in.
I've heard some good things about Hartsville Country Club.
I got
a picture. I need to know the details behind this.
Oh boy, okay.
What putt was this right here?
Oh, that actually, funny enough, is the last putt of my college career. So we, and as you can see, I am one for the dramatics, not angry dramatics. I just, I'm a bit animated. So that we were lucky enough to host we were part of the SAC conference. So we hosted conference my senior year at Hartsville Country Club, which was super, super cool. And this was me finishing up on hole 18 at Hartsville Country Club. And I had all my teammates, my mom, my sister, my grandma were there. Lots of support. So shout out to Coker's media team for catching my last putt in my college career. It's super cool. But yeah, I got a little bit of a stretch in there then.
I love it. I love the picture there. Well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we're going to kind of talk a little bit about what we want to do with this, and also kind of talk about the visions of Chipping Around the Grand Strand Digital Edition. All right, we are back, and so Jordan and I are joining us. And Jordan, we're going to take Chipping Around the Grand Strand a little bit more at a wide view of what we are doing. Normally, you see on TV the playing lessons that we do, and we'll continue to do that. But we're also going to be talking about that here on the podcast, but also kind of bringing in some different things. And one of those aspects is something you kind of hinted on, is the golf industry, and you were able to be an assistant pro. And we want to talk a little bit about the golf scene in Myrtle Beach because, well, it is the golf capital of the world.
Right.
So
kind of the perfect place for this, and I think that's what we're kind of hoping to have some people in, you know, from the golf industry in the area to kind of give us that behind the scenes view. Because obviously, if you know golf, you go play, you play in tournaments. Okay, cool. You know, it is what it is. But there's so much that goes on behind the scenes and course preparations and tournament prep, daily play prep.
Yeah.
And so I think that between Scotty and I, we know a couple people in the area. So we're super excited to have some people on to kind of give us that behind the scenes look. So the next time you go out and play, you're not just thinking about the cart you're hopping on and what holes you're playing. You have maybe a little bit of a better understanding of what goes on day to day on the Grand Strand golf scene.
Yeah, we definitely want to give you that opportunity because there is so much that goes on more than just loading up the clubs and heading out there to play. We also want to kind of talk about some of the collegiate events and LPGA Tour and PGA Tour events. So we're going to be doing that. And we also want to highlight some of the events that go around here. I know we have the World Pro-Am that comes to town.
Oh, yeah. Big
every
event.
year. The Dustin Johnson youth tournament that comes around. You know, this past year, some pretty big names. You know, Charlie Woods was there.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him, but he came down to TPC Myrtle Beach and played.
He did. Donald Trump's granddaughter, Kai, was here playing. Also, numerous other golfers, junior golfers that are really, you know, just high-profile golfers were here. So we want to highlight events like that too. So, and also, if you have tournaments, maybe there's something that you want to kind of talk about. We'd love to talk about that as well. So it's not only about golf lessons, but we also want to talk about the industry itself. We want to feature some of those courses that you like to play at. So I'm going to ask you, Jordan, straight up, what's your favorite course that you like to play at here in Myrtle Beach?
You actually, funny enough, have already brought it up. I love Polly's Plantation. I'm a big South Strand golf girl. I love Polly's Plantation. I love True Blue, Caledonia. I played in a lot of junior tournaments like on the South Strand. I actually, for the first time, I just played it yesterday. I got to play the die course at Barefoot, which was super cool. I had been out there for like Monday after the Masters, and I like had volunteered at some fundraiser events growing up, but I've never gotten to play any of the Barefoot courses. So I got to go out there yesterday, and it was beautiful. I mean, super cool, very hot. I was sweating beyond belief, but it was beautiful. Super, super nice course. So yeah, I think Polly's Plantation usually takes the cake. It's just so pretty, like the par threes out on the water, like, and I'm usually just like a visual aesthetics, whether I play good or not is one thing, like, but you know, just nice people working there, you know, a beautiful course in good condition. Can't really ask for much more than that. So I think that's definitely one of my favorites. I did also, we were fortunate enough to have Wachesaw Plantation as our home course for a few years when I was in high school. I had my first hole-in-one there, so it kind of holds a special place in my heart. Do love that course as well. Haven't got to play there since I was in high school, but was fortunate enough to even be out there in the first place. So that's also up there for sure. What about you? What is your fave on the Grand Strand?
My favorite, the course that I play the best at is the Man of War course over in Carolina Forest.
Yeah.
I've somehow adopted that as like my home course.
Yeah.
I play so well there. But besides that, I love Paula, even though I didn't play well. Paula's Plantation's beautiful.
Right.
I've got to play at the Dunes Club a few times. Beautiful course there.
So nice.
But any course that is on the water. Another one that I like is Tidewater up in Cherry Grove, Little River areas. So any course that you can kind of take in the water with the golf is always A-okay in my book. So,
right.
But I haven't been to all the courses yet, so I'll take your suggestions. Anybody that has any, we would love to hear that too. And who knows? Maybe we can take this to the golf course sometime. Maybe they'll allow us to go out and play a few holes, and we can document it and bring it here on the podcast.
We truly will be chipping around the Grand Strand at that point, right?
I think that would be fun. I think it'd be fun.
I would love that.
So
absolutely. We'll have some closest to the pin competitions.
Yeah, I hole-in-one though. I mean, quickly tell us what that was like.
Oh, that was great. It's actually kind of a funny story. So That was my first hole-in-one. I've had two now, thankfully. That feels like an insane flex to say, but my first one was my junior year of high school. So it was a Monday match. Like I said, we hosted our home matches at Ouachita Plantation, and we shotgun started. So I always started on number 3, so par 3. This was a Monday. On Friday, I had my wisdom teeth taken out. My wisdom teeth experience is something I could talk about ad nauseum because it was brutal. And so I was still like hardly able to even talk. It looked like someone had taken a brick, like a red brick, and dropped it in my jaw. I was sitting out here, okay? Not cute at all. And so I was still recovering from that. And I'd also forgotten a pair of socks. So my mom had to come early. Shout out to my mom for getting there early, bringing me socks. And I was in horrific pain. I could barely smile. I was like, hey, nice to meet you. Like trying to play. It was horrible. So played number 3, par 3, first hole. Pins at the back, and there's trees kind of on the right, and it's later in the afternoon because we're doing this after school. So like the shadows coming in, can't really see like the hole itself. Hit the shot, and the team that we were playing with, which I believe was North Myrtle, their coach was there watching us tee off, and she was like, I think that just went in the hole. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it went off the back. And she was like, no, I'm pretty sure you just had a hole-in-one. And I was like, no, don't say that. So the other girls hit, and so I'm borderline sprinting up to the green, and my mom has a picture where I look down at the hole, and then I look back up, and I'm like, like pointing down at it. So that was insane. And of course I get to the next hole, and my coach is like driving her car across number 4 fairway, and she's like, I heard you had a hole-in-one. Like, so it was super cool. Everybody was so sweet. The girls that I was playing with in that match were so kind, and I was taking pictures of all this. I was like, I'm sorry I'm slowing up the whole match, but I'm kind of excited. So
you have every right to slow up the match after that. So.
And those pictures, and oddly enough, that picture of me ended up on the cover of our yearbook that year in like a collage, and I am like trying so hard to smile for my wisdom teeth surgery. Oh, it was really funny. But yeah, I love Ouachita Plantation for that. And the next time I played that hole was a week later in a match. I doubled it.
Oh, that's how golf goes.
So, yeah, if that's not golf in a nutshell right there, I don't know what is.
That's totally it. Well, we're going to take our final break and then come back and kind of wrap up last week's PGA Tour event and take a look at the John Deere Classic. All right, we are back, and we're going to recap the Rocket Classic that took place in Detroit, and a familiar face wins the tournament. This is some of the highlights here, so we'll talk over them, but this is Chris Kirk, who was in contention for a lot of the week, but it was a fun tournament. And
to say the least.
I'm telling you, the winner actually was here in Myrtle Beach just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, Scotty might consider him a close and personal friend at this point. Like he mentioned earlier, we both got to be at the Myrtle Beach Classic, and Scotty was able to announce, and please say his name before I say it on here and embarrass him.
Aldridge Potgeier.
Okay, I want to throw in that last T, but there he is there. I actually have video on my phone of Scotty announcing him at the Myrtle Beach Classic. And all 3 of the guys, there was it ended up being 5 holes total, right?
Yes,
there were,
yeah.
Kirk lasted for 2, and then Gracerman and Potgeier went for 5. They all played at the Myrtle Beach Classic. So Scotty and I got to see those talents firsthand, and then to see them go into a playoff this weekend was exciting. I love a playoff. I mean, who doesn't? But
it was fun. And then Nico actually was also at the Myrtle Beach Classic as well. He finished 4th. So
yeah,
and Jackson Suber as well. So we
had the top 5, right?
And Ford Borson was there too. So a lot of Myrtle Beach folks were there playing in the tournament. So you have some stuff for us because we are going to the John Deere Classic, which is the last tournament before the last major of the season, the British Open. So who are we looking at for the John Deere? Yeah,
well, we got the John Deere Classic coming up in Illinois. So it starts on Thursday. It's going to be at TPC Deer Run. Last year's winner, Davis Thompson, at 28 under. I don't know about you, but I've never even dreamed of shooting 28 under.
No.
Let alone doing it in a tournament. That's insane. And then last year, and I did write this down because I have horrific memory, but tied second last year. There was a 3-way tie for second last year, but a stout 4 strokes behind. So Thompson came in swinging last year. going to be really exciting starting again this year. As someone who is a resident Jordan Spieth fan, John Deere Classic to me is just Jordan Spieth.
Yes, yeah.
One of the first tournaments that he won when he was starting to get really big. So I always love the John Deere Classic. I'm super excited. Great field again going into this week. Going to be super exciting. I don't know if you, as our resident meteorologist, have looked at the weather or not. I don't know what this week's going to look like, but hopefully it's good weather. Fingers crossed, because I know.
Crossed. We could see a few pop-up storms, just like typical summertime storms,
Right.
but that's about it. No big storm systems moving through right now. So
Beautiful.
yeah, so it should be good, and you can watch that here on WBTW News 13 this weekend. And remember, whoever wins that gets an automatic invite to next week's British Open, which is the final major of the season. Well, hey, we've only got about 8 seconds left, so thank you so much for watching Chipping Around the Grand Strand. For Jordan, I'm Scotty, and we hope to see you next week.
See you then.